Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I wasn't going to actually do any filming today, but I started getting into it and I thought, moving along with this patch, I thought some of you might like to see it. If you remember from the last video of the wheel arch repair, we had that little front flange corner. I'm working on that today. I'll take the camera over in a second. Tomorrow, Will and I are going to go and grab one of those 108s that I found locally, possibly two, depends on how much we get done during the day. So yeah, stay tuned for that. I'll be filming that tomorrow with my buddy Will. And so let me show you what I've done so far. I cleaned all this area up here. So you get a bit of light in there. There we go. Okay, so I cleaned all this area up to make sure we get everything. And I'm making a patch to replace this corner section. Plus I'm going to cut out this dodgy bit of metal someone has welding on there. Obviously a rust trap. So I'm going to cut a piece into there and spot weld it and tack weld it in and smooth it out so that looks completely perfect. So essentially what I did, I made this little template here, you see, with some extra to be able to fold round. I've got this girder. I cut a round section into the girder to enable me to use it as like an anvil to shape the flange, and then I've got some nice straight edges here. And like I say, I didn't want to get too far ahead here, so this is what I've come up with. This I used extra metal just so I can handle it a little easier. But this is approximately where I'm going to cut my patch. As you can see, the flange is folded. I folded that over, but as you've seen me many times before, just knocking it over with a hammer and then rolling the edge around this corner to work the radius that I want. And then I trim this edge down with a cutting wheel and a grinder, and so that's as far as I've got so far. So basically I've just clamped this this girder to the bench, and all I've been doing is just working my flange here with some light glancing blows. I'm not just hitting it straight, I'm kind of glancing it down, just finding that edge there, and then rolling it around this radius. And that's pretty much as far as I've got before I started filming. Because it tends to, when you beat it, it can tend to stretch the metal and curve it that way, so I'm just compensating with a little few taps on the back. Just to help compensate. So what we're at now, we're going to cut this piece out and then hold it up to the job and you know, start welding that plate in there. Okay, so I'm just holding it up where it's going to go. Hopefully you can see that. Okay, we'll cut that out. I may cut waist side just so then I can, because this is a, you know, essentially a triangular kind of shape here, I can then just sort of slowly move the patch in until it fits correctly. So we'll cut that guy out. There's no obstruction on the other side. Might get a little tight here. I might use my little body saw for that. Rust out of there, see? This is just filler and stuff, or that like caulking they put with the fender, I think. So right, let's put my patch in and see how that goes. So that's going to go in there like so. Tune it up. Going to weld on nicely, that. Okay, we cleaned it up both sides now, so that's that, and worked it around over here. You see that? I'll get that focused. There we go. So yeah, that's clean. That should weld on quite nicely. Alright, so I've got that clamped in, or not clamped in, but magnetized in. What I'm using is a couple of pieces of the 2-3 MIG wire, just to give me a consistent gap. Because these magnets, I find, kind of draw the patch close together, and we want a little gap all the way around for the weld to go through. So anyway, that's what I did. So let me get that started to tack weld off and making sure it's level as usual. Little flange is a little out there. I can bend this original into it, work with that. I won't weld that yet. I'll just do here and here. Alright, so I hope you can see that. Tricky little weld. Kind of just really could get my position right. Kind of faffed it up a little bit in a couple of areas, but then just run a bead. I repaired a little area down the bottom here that was split. When you're welding this old metal that's got a little bit of corrosion on it, you clean it up as best you can, but it doesn't weld as nicely as fresh metal obviously. But let's grind that up. I'm going to probably use my needle sander just because it's a little tight here, and I'll come back to you and see how it goes. I welded both sides. See, I welded that side as well, and we'll clean all that up and I'll show you how it looks. Well, there you go, all sanded up. We went through 36, 60, 80 and then a conditioning disc just to get it smooth. Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm always very conscious not to make the metal too thin. There's a balance, I've said before, between making it look perfect and, you know, not wanting to go too far and make the metal thin. So I'm very careful when I sand and grind it down. I'm used to extremely thin wood veneers, so I'm extra cautious. You know, even though this is metal, you can still go too thin. So yeah, that's looking pretty good. So next thing is this bumper bracket. I'm going to cut that out and we'll get that welded in, make that look a lot better. Because to get this bend here and this bend exactly right, it's very tricky. I either go too short, too long. Now I've gone too long on this distance is too much, but what I'm going to do is just make this in two pieces. I'm going to cut this tab off and then use this line to tailor fit it in, and then I'll just weld the flange on. It's just a lot more straightforward. Then I can just concentrate on getting this fit here. So essentially just make it in two pieces. So I'm going to mark this off and get this cut out, see what's going on behind here, and then I'll just add this flange at a later point. Alright, I've just cut that with the grinder. Let's see what this looks like. What he's done here. Let me get a better screwdriver out. And so I've talked to you before. See, look. I don't know whether it, let me make sure you can see that. See what he's done here? Just a little tiny hole there, by the looks of it, and he's just welded a plate over and obviously trapped a load of rust again. I mean, completely pointless repair really, and it really doesn't take a long time to butt join it and do it properly, you know, so I'm glad I cut that out. Also, you can see there's a drain hole here, I think, and of course they get clogged up, full of filth. I think that's a drain hole right there. We'll clean all that out. Okay, we've got that all sanded up and cut into fit there. I don't need to make this flange because I can make use of this flange and just weld it straight to it. So all I've done is bent this edge over to meet with this flange and then just weld it up. So I've treated it inside with Permatex where there was some surface rust. But before I close this up, I'll show you what I'll do. I'm going to use some of this internal frame coating from Eastwood with this probe. I think this probe reaches about 2 feet or so. So this will get me halfway down the bumper bracket essentially, and then when I repair the other side I'll come in from the other side or one of the drain holes or something. But I thought I'd do that before I weld it up. So let me, what I've got to do is straighten this up, and you can heat this up with a hairdryer and it will get this straight, because obviously you can't use it like this. Right, so this should see it's all curled up. I should be able to heat this up. And it should get straight. Right, we're giving this frame coating a good shake up, and I've straightened the rod out, you see. Now while I'm using it, I thought, you know, my earlier repair where I did the rocker repair here, I'm going to inject some frame coating all around my jacking point area up to this point, because from around here onwards I've still got some floor repair stuff to do. I thought I'd just get some in there while I'm using the can, and then I don't have to worry about that area anymore, you see, because that's all done. I say I'm only going to probe into around about this point and then draw out, and then do the other side and then draw back. So woo, okay. Lucky the car's not painted, isn't it? So anyway, that does a kind of a 360 spray all inside there. Now I'm going to go the other way, wipe some of that up. Obviously I'm not worried about this at the moment. I'll go in over here. Okay, that's at the end there. Whoops, and it really sprays out. Well, you're pretty much sure it's got coverage. It's coming out where the jack point is, but that's okay. So we know that that's all coated in there now. And let's go and do the bumper. This stuff is very viscous, you know, very thin, which is good because it gets in all the crooks and crevices. And nothing there I care about that's going to get into this, so I'm just going to enter this as far as I can. It's not quite half, it's just over a third, nearly halfway. Kind of rotate it around. Yeah, it's just dripping out some of the drainage holes, that's fine, all over my tools obviously. So, at least they won't rust. Alright, and what I'll do is I think I'm going to spray that with zinc primer, because I don't know how this is going to react to the welding area. So I'll shoot out with some zinc in there, and then I'll clean that tube out. Spray that in there. I've already done a Permatex in here. Let that dry and have a little tidy up before we weld that on. Okay, so if you buy some brake parts cleaner with this kind of removable tip, so you can put the probe on it and then blast a few jets through it, and then you can clean this probe out after you're done. That's all welded up nice and flat, smoothed out real nicely. Went over it with a conditioning disc. I've coated all the new surfaces, this one as well, with all the zinc fast etch to stop any flash rust. And now we're ready for just cleaning these welds up. I'm gonna stitch weld all this and smooth those out, make this, because I think what he's done is patched in this outer edge here, and I don't think it's necessary to start tearing all into that, because that all seems good both sides. So I'm gonna finish up, make that look nice in the next few days or so, and then give this a coating of probably a rust encapsulator, because it's going to be a while until I get all the underside primed, but just do the section by section. And yeah, so I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, looks a lot nicer. So yeah, there you go. There's the piece that came out. Okay guys, thanks a lot for watching this episode. Yeah, that's all gone in quite nicely. I'm pretty happy with that. So it took a little while, but yeah, so one thing, probably not a good idea to use the frame coating and then do welding. It was only probably 20 minutes or so, and I started stitch welding. I heard it go whoom like that with all the fumes inside the bumper iron there, so probably best to frame coating afterwards through one of the drain holes or something. But I've always got a fire extinguisher handy just in case, but I could hear it kind of boom inside there. So as I said, I'm going to go and fetch one of those 108s, possibly 2 108s tomorrow, pulling those back. One is kind of beyond help. It's been really picked apart, you know, with parts pulled off of it, and I might well use some of the panels and that to help me repair this 109. I don't really like doing the parting cars out and stuff because you know, it's not the point. You know, we want to try and save as many, but this one's really kind of on help. The 2 others, there is a 108 6-cylinder. Someone's pulled the brake booster off, but the engine's supposed to be very good and pretty much complete car except for that. And there's a few miscellaneous parts missing, but I'm going to just give that a clean up and put it on the Facebook group, see if anyone would be interested in buying that at a really good price, just so get someone started. And then possibly in the next few months there's another 108 6-cylinder SEL long body with the, I believe it's got the Euro bumpers on it on the rear, you know, instead of the American license plate lights on the side, it's got the Euro style. That is also a sunroof car. He is actually wanting to pull the engine out of that, which is a shame. I'd like to buy it as a complete car, but I'll see if I can work something out with him. But that will also be pulled back. So yeah, if you're interested, let me know. Yeah, we'll shoot a video, Will and I, tomorrow. Have some fun tomorrow pulling those cars out. So again, thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.